Time is a master of illusion. We tend to compartmentalize history into neat, isolated chapters, believing that the age of prehistoric monsters ended long before the dawn of human civilization. But what if I told you that our historical timeline is tangled in ways that challenge our very understanding of the past? Welcome to a journey across time, where the ancient past meets a surprising parallel reality. In the year 2580 BCE, under the blazing sun of the Sahara Desert, the Egyptian Empire was at the zenith of its engineering prowess. Thousands of skilled laborers and artisans labored tirelessly to construct the Great Pyramid of Giza for Pharaoh Khufu. This monumental structure of limestone and granite was a testament to human organization, mathematics, and the absolute power of the pharaohs, designed to pierce the heavens and last for eternity. But while the pharaohs were busy building their eternal tombs, thousands of miles to the north, in the frigid, wind-swept expanses of what is now Wrangel Island in northeastern Siberia, a completely different world existed. Here, giant, shaggy beasts with towering, curved tusks were still roaming. Yes, we are talking about woolly mammoths, living, breathing relics of the Ice Age, thriving in the modern epoch of human builders. This stunning temporal overlap turns our conventional historical timelines completely upside down. Most of us associate woolly mammoths with cavemen, spears, and the deep dark depths of the Ice Age millions of years ago. Yet the historical truth is that these magnificent prehistoric beasts did not just witness the rise of ancient Egypt, they actually outlived the completion of the Great Pyramid of Giza by over 1,000 years. Let us first look at the grand scale of Giza. For nearly 4,000 years, the Great Pyramid stood as the simplest yet tallest man-made structure on Earth. Its construction required an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons. This was a highly advanced, literate society with complex laws, written hieroglyphs, sophisticated agriculture, and a deep understanding of astronomy. Meanwhile, on Wrangel Island, a remote outpost in the Arctic Ocean, time had seemingly stood still. As the glaciers of the last ice age retreated around 10,000 years ago, rising sea levels cut off a small population of woolly mammoths from the Siberian mainland. On this isolated sanctuary, safe from mainland predators and human hunters, this remnant population managed to survive, adapting to their shrinking world. To put this into perspective, the Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 BCE. The last woolly mammoths on Wrangel Island did not take their final breaths until approximately 1650 BCE. This means that for over 900 years, while Egyptian dynasties rose and fell, while trade networks expanded across the Mediterranean, and while early writing systems evolved, mammoths were actively grazing on their Arctic island. But their survival came at a heavy cost. Being isolated on a small island meant that the mammoth population was limited to only a few hundred individuals. Over generations, this extreme isolation led to severe inbreeding. Recent genetic studies of fossilized bones have revealed that these last mammoths suffered from a genetic meltdown, losing their sense of smell, experiencing abnormal wool development, and suffering from reduced fertility. As their genetic code degraded, the mammoths also shrank in size, becoming a dwarf variety of their majestic ancestors. They faced deteriorating environmental conditions, including a changing climate that altered the vegetation they relied upon, and a critical lack of fresh drinking water as the island's lakes became increasingly mineralized. Their once mighty empire had shrunk to a desperate struggle for daily survival. During this exact same period, Egypt was experiencing its Middle Kingdom golden age. Art, literature, and monumental architecture flourished. Pharaohs established vast trade routes, reaching deep into Africa and the Levant. The Great Pyramid, already centuries old, was regarded as an ancient wonder even by the Egyptians of this era, who maintained and revered the structures built by their distant ancestors. It is a mind-bending exercise in historical empathy. Imagine an Egyptian scribe holding a reed pen and writing administrative records on papyrus, completely unaware that at that very second, a woolly mammoth was bellowing into the freezing Arctic wind. Two completely different epochs of Earth's history, the prehistoric Cenozoic era and the dawn of human civilization, coexisted simultaneously on the same planet. But all things must come to an end. Around 1650 BCE, the final silence fell over Wrangel Island. Whether due to a sudden catastrophic weather event, a disease outbreak, the arrival of the first human hunters, or simply the final collapse of their degraded genome, the last woolly mammoth died. With its passing, an unbroken lineage stretching back millions of years to the beginning of the Ice Age was severed forever. To put the date of their extinction into context, by 1650 BCE, the famous Code of Hammurabi had already been written in Babylon. Mycenaean Greece was entering its golden age of heroes and legends. In China, the Shang dynasty was beginning to forge its first masterworks of bronze. The world was already deeply locked into the Bronze Age, moving rapidly toward modern civilization, while the last prehistoric beast was just fading away. How do we know all of this? It is thanks to the modern miracles of radiocarbon dating and paleogenomics. By analyzing the fossilized teeth and bones found on Wrangel Island, scientists have been able to extract ancient DNA and carbon date the specimens. This molecular time travel allows us to reconstruct their exact timeline and peer into the final, tragic days of these Arctic survivors with incredible precision. The story of the Giza pyramids and the Wrangel Island mammoths reminds us that history is not a linear, orderly march, but a rich, overlapping tapestry of life, civilization, and extinction. It challenges us to look beyond the rigid boundaries of our textbooks and realize that the ancient past is often much closer and far more interconnected than we ever dared to imagine.